Hi, Steven. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me out here. It's nice to be in Sand Hill Road.
Yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations on closing this round.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're very excited to be your lead investor, and I'm excited to join your board. Do you want to share a bit about the round details?
Yeah, so Notable is going to be leading our new Series A. We're incredibly excited. They're going to be joining this round with Neo and a couple other new investors that are coming in. And it's going to help really accelerate growth. We are in a pretty unprecedented time in space in the investing market, and it's just been incredible to see the product market fit since we've launched last year. And the sky's the limit sort of with this new fundraise coming in.
Ever since I first met you, and thanks for accepting my direct reach out to you over LinkedIn.
It's pretty baller.
Yeah, very impressed how you were a founder even from early days. You were thinking about entrepreneurship even as a middle schooler. Yeah. Can you share a bit of your journey as a founder from the very beginning?
I made my first sale in first grade. I remember I watched a kid in science camp fold origami cranes, and I asked him how to do it. He taught me, and I was obsessed. I love working with my hands. And as I was leaving science camp that day, a kid had $1 left from lunch money, and he asked me if he could buy my origami crane for $1. And that was my first aha moment of capitalism. I saw that someone valued something that I'd created with my own hands enough that they want to give me money.
This is first grade.
First grade. And I'll never forget that intoxicating moment. And ever since then, I've been building companies, selling websites in fifth grade, just sort of founding my first company that I dropped out of high school for. It was a virtual reality ed tech company. Didn't really work out, raised some money, eventually sold it, went back to school, and Dub is really around too. But it's been a lifelong journey, and I'm obsessed with the craft, and this is what I love doing, and rather be doing nothing else.
Right. And you got into Harvard. You went to Harvard during COVID, and after 9 months, you decided to drop out of Harvard. What was going through your crazy mind at that point in time?
Yeah. I was the first class that was going back to school in 2020 in COVID year. So everything was social distancing. Everything was Zoom school for the first time. It was crazy. It was nuts. And as a result, I just had a lot of time sitting in my dorm room doing Zoom school. And what was I doing? I was trading. I started trading really young. I started trading second grade with a custodial account on Scottrade. And with my free time, I was watching the meme stock craze happen, crypto really take off. And what I saw was this trend where the younger generation, for the very first time, was really learning how to invest. Millions of new investors came online for the first time because of the stimulus checks during COVID. Right. And that was an exciting opportunity that I saw where, hey, there's a consumer behavior change happening. And I was trading a ton, but also I saw how there was a need in the market that sort of a lot of these new investors were not being met at where they were at. And I was like, I should create a product here. And I was doodling on some ideas, eventually sort of landed on Dub, and things really picked up. And I had enough conviction in building the company where left school. I was like a month before finals. I'm not writing any essays. I'm moving to New York City. I didn't even tell my mom. I just emailed the dean, left school, moved to New York City. And I told my mom a month or two later.
You're a first-generation immigrant. Your mom, it speaks English somewhat. How did she take your news?
So, you know what? She was very angry when I left high school. That was a brutal bloodbath fight. The second time around, she was kind of used to it, but also I think I've been in a place where she trusted me. She had seen what happened, and she knew this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And what I'm deeply appreciative of my mom is she's very supportive, and she knows this is it. And I think she taught me really well. So I probably should have let her know a little earlier, but I was deeply wrapped up in building Dub and my obsession with building the company.
Yeah. Well, how did you decide on Dub as the idea that you want to spend time and making it work?
Absolutely. So while I was in my dorm room doing all this trading, the new trend that I saw was this new generation of traders. They were no longer just sitting on the screens looking at PE ratios, right? They were following people and ideas to drive their decision making. You saw Roaring Kitty, everyone investing in GameStop, the individual going up against the institutions and the big hedge funds. You saw star fund managers like Kathy Woods come online for the first time, gather $200 billion of assets in just 1 or 2 years. Right? And Elon was moving the Bitcoin and Doge markets every tweet. So that was how people were investing. They were following narratives. I was like, wow, if I'm doing this, I'm part of this. I'm looking at Twitter, CNBC, following news and trying to trade in my Robinhood. What if we can make this as simple As just a single tap of a button, you can mirror or replicate someone else's trades. And I thought that was going to be the 10x product. And as I dug deeper into it, what I realized was that this idea of following the smart money has been around for a long time. Just hasn't been accessible to the regular American. If I have money, I'm not trading myself. I call up my Goldman Sachs wealth manager or invest in a hedge fund or a venture capital firm, or I'm trusting the expert to deploy my money, because investing is really hard, right? And with difficult things, you just trust the expert. So I was like, can we bring this concept that's never been accessible for the regular retail investor and bring it to them for the very first time in a familiar product?
Yeah. Most consumers kind of view this type of copy trading app as the Nancy Pelosi app.
She is good.
Right, she's good. But with that, there's, you don't find out exactly what she does until the 13 Fs come out. So there's a time lag. Can you share that a bit more? And I think you're the only one. One of the reasons you were attracted to us is that you were the only one that can actually execute on the trades and have the broker dealer license.
Absolutely.
So can you share a bit of how's that differentiation working out for you?
Yeah, so Nancy Pelosi, she has 30 days to file based on the Stock Act of 2012 that Obama signed. So there is some delay there. But what I think people fail to realize is, like, Nancy Pelosi is just one of hundreds, if not thousands, of investment portfolios and people that you can copy trade on the app. And what we've built is not just the politician stock copy trading app, which we are kind of known for right now, but a marketplace where you can pick and choose investing talent to essentially take care of your capital and your money. And to do that in authentic and high fidelity real-time fashion, to make sure that there's no front running and the execution, you're getting the same as the person that you're copy trading, quote unquote, you have to be the brokerage. And Dub is the only broker dealer. We are it's our subsidiary company. We've got a parent co, read the fine print, but we're the only brokerage to offer copy trading as a service. And that was fundamental to offering just a high fidelity product where we didn't need to rely on another potential brokerage's execution where there could be delays. It wouldn't be real time. So that was sort of my thesis. And we took the hard path, right? It took 2.5 years of being heads down and building and getting our broker-dealer license before we launched. But the quality shows, right? And the stickiness, the retention, it shows in the product as people see it.
Yeah. And doing this, you have to interact with the regulatory bodies more, whether it's SEC and others, and maybe sometimes even state by state. Yeah. What is that experience like? And how did you assemble a team to be able to help you to work with you to deal with that?
Yeah, I'm very contrarian. I think in some things you should move fast and break things, but from a regulatory approach and from a compliance standpoint, I invested day one in working with the regulators and building a good relationship. And to do that, I know I'm sort of a college dropout without any connections or relationships in the space, but I got creative, right? Like, how do I hire the best talent? How do I get some of the best investors around me who've executed and know the space well and built very successful companies, right? So one of our angel investors, the CEO of Uber. Another is the former vice Fed chair that went through 9/11, Roger Ferguson, and one of our C-lead investors was Tuss, right? They know the space stone cold, and getting some advice from them, I went out and hired some of the best compliance talent to come in and sort of build our compliance program from the ground up. And from day one, we, instead of like shipping this net new and just, hey, letting the regulators know afterwards, we went to the regulators and said, this is what we want to do. How do we work with you to make this happen? And standing here 3.5 years later, I think it's paid off in many ways.
Yeah. One of the things that really struck me is the camaraderie you have with the operators that you have recruited and built around the table. They not only enjoy hanging out with you, they actually really are inspired and respect your insights and vision and just strategic thinking in general.
Yeah.
How did you guys build this kind of rapport?
Yeah. If you asked me 4 years ago, I would probably not tell you that all my leadership team, they're almost double my age. But it's been incredible. I think it comes from a place of vulnerability, right? I know what I do not know. As a college dropout founder, yes, I've been building products my whole life, but I have enough sort of authenticity and wherewithal to realize that to get to where I need to go in such a complex and difficult space, how do we get there faster? And it's by paying or hiring and bringing experience on that we can combine that with sort of my fast execution to really maximize the potential of what we're creating. So that was sort of what I pitched them, right? Like, I need you, I want you, I know what I don't have, and 1 + 1 is going to equal 10 here. And that's really what's happened. And I think coming from that place, I built this really strong rapport with them where there's a deep sense of trust that's been created because of that fundamental sort of vulnerability that I think I have. And, it hasn't always been easy. We've had lots of ups and downs, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is my favorite Nietzsche quote. You know what? We've had some really low moments, but that is what bonds you and makes you stronger and takes you to the top.
Right. Or some of those moments, how did you guys, overcome those?
Yeah, it's a lot of just looking yourself in the eye and being brutally honest. And what I will say is that I think for me, and I think most people, you never probably react well in the early moment. I like to say this to the team. If you feel it in your gut, don't say anything because you're probably going to say the wrong thing. Wait, sleep on it, settle on it, and then come back together, right? And I think that's how we've approached a lot of our decision making, right? And to me, it's like, it's that first. And second is, as long as everyone on the team believes in the shared vision, and that shared vision is really clear, everything we do is just in service to that vision, right? And if there's a top level alignment, and we may be misaligned down here, I'm very confident in the bonds that we built, the sort of meritocratically arrive at what the best decision is. And that requires a lot of low ego, but and a lot of strong opinions loosely held. And a lot of it is like just picking the right people to work with. Yeah. And I haven't been 100%. I've let some folks go on the team, no one on the leadership team, but you sort of learn as you go throughout the years and you work with people and you build an intuition.
Yeah. What are some of the lessons or victories or successes you guys have along the way as a team that help you to build that rapport, that trust in each other?
Yeah. A lot of the things it comes from tradition. We do my favorite Momofuku milk bar cake every $1 million of ARR we add. We're super frugal, and the leadership team sort of cleans the office. A lot of it's like the small stuff. We have our favorite dive bar that we go to a happy hour every Thursday, and we cover it out of our own pockets. It's like the small things that what I've realized, the traditions that you kind of look forward to every week on a day-to-day basis that build that sort of culture, that bring it all together. And sort of on top of that, yes, we've had some great wins. I think we just crossed the 1 million downloads. We've closed some fundraisers. We've gotten the licenses, and really being intentional in celebrating those moments, right? And I don't think we celebrate enough as human beings. And as alpha people in sort of startups, it takes a really alpha type personality to want to give everything up to work in a really high risk environment. You're always looking for the next thing, right? But from a psychological standpoint, this has been studied so much, right? If you don't celebrate and sort of build in those reward mechanisms for yourself at sort of over long time spans, it's not as fun. It's not as bonding, right? I think it's being really intentional about how do we celebrate the small things, the big things, but also getting real with ourselves and what we need to do better.
Yeah. Part of this is getting the customers, consumers, the users familiar with what you're doing. One of the things that really touched me is when we spent time with you guys for a team lunch. A woman with her husband and a child were in the same restaurant, and the woman ran up to you. She was clearly getting a bit emotional, and keep on shaking your hand and keep on saying thank you. And I remember with other iconic names that we have associated with, whether it's StockX or Ritno or other companies, people really, when they get to meet the founder, you can tell how much they love the product. Do you get a lot of users telling you you made a difference in their lives, and what kind of lessons have you learned from that?
Yeah, absolutely. I swear it was implanted, but it was pretty incredible. She had seen the product and she was a customer, and she came up, and like building consumer product, you get a lot of those moments now being in New York City. A lot of our customers are in New York City, and it's really touching, but two, it's even more motivating, right? It makes me even more ambitious to see those moments happen because I know the impact that Dove can have in this world, and we're nowhere where we need to be, right? Why am I doing this? I want to build the greatest fintech product ever. I want Dub in every corner of the globe. I think it's fundamentally founded on a strong clarity of vision where I know some of the companies that you've invested in over the Web 2.0 generation of fintech, like Affirm, a lot of these companies opened up access for the first time to things like investing. Robinhood made it free, right? It used to be $10, $20, $100 to execute a single trade. Access is powerful. But with power comes also danger and recklessness if there is no education. And to me, what has been missing is that second educational piece to access of investing. And we've seen that play out. I reckon most people who have day traded on free consumer products have probably lost a lot of money.
Right.
You saw the meme coins and all the stuff and all the crazy options. You hear all the stories, right? Yep. But I think fundamentally to me, and going back to the original motivation is like, how do we bring education to access? And that's what really Dub is, right? Like investing's complex. Most people will never learn how to invest really well. People do it in a lifetime. They still lose money in Wall Street, right? So how do we enable people to now, quote unquote, mirror the experts, get access, see what other people are doing, and let them take care of their money? And I think if we do that well, we'll, 10 years from now, people will no longer be trading stocks. They'll be picking people to copy trade on Dub.
There are a lot of people who talk about investment strategies on Reddit and Yahoo Finance, a variety of places. What are users getting on Dub? What kind of educational resources and content can they expect over time that will help them to become a better investor? Yeah.
The education is embedded in the design of the product today. And a really key part that we surface to customers are why and how are the people that you're copy trading doing those trades. We require for every trade or rebalance that you make as a creator or someone who's getting copy traded, you need to put in your thesis. You need to put in why. You need to put in how you've made that trade. And by embedding the education into the digestive content that you're consuming just on the app, we're teaching our users on how to think about markets. How are people navigating difficult down market corrections like the past couple of weeks, right? And for me, it's like a lot of times people think about, a whole new education product. How do we put this in our customers' faces and force feed it down the throats? I think a much better way to build product is seamlessly integrate the education into the core experience they're looking at 24/7. Yeah. And so I think there's a lot of ground for us to cover there. I think we're just touching the tip of the spear there. But I'm really excited. And it's very quarter ethos.
With every major sort of Web 2.0 mobile internet platform that emerged, whether it's YouTube or Pinterest or recently we turned to TikTok and so forth, you see a new generation of influencers that were not known before leverage the new platform and become famous and effective and influential. How are you seeing that happening with Dub, with the new creators who are amazing investors but up to now people don't know who they are?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head. We are, in many ways, bringing the very first influencer economy or creator economy to finance, right? We're connecting capital with sort of influence, people that know how to deploy that capital. Successfully, yes. And I think from our perspective, our job as a marketplace business that's building this creator economy is to drive the best talent to the very top, surface that to our customers, and that should hopefully be a very strong feedback loop. And we're already seeing the early innings of this, right? Some of the top traders on Dub who are being copy traded, they're people who have never had a platform or they haven't been able to break into Wall Street, right? Not everyone, even if you're talented, has gone to Harvard, can go launch a hedge fund, go raise money successfully. It takes multiple years, right? And we've democratized that access. And in many ways, yes, we're a copy trading platform, but also in other ways, we're almost like a fund in a box where we're giving anyone, any talented investor now a chance to prove their worth, be distributed to hopefully millions of eyeballs if they're good, and we promote just better investing across the board.
Who are some of the more popular influencers or traders on your platform, and whether there are personal stories that you think is worth sharing?
I can't recommend them, so not investment advice. But if you do go on the app and you look at sort of the user profiles, we have a couple real hedge fund managers who are trading. We have a couple ex-influencers that have been trading and running Discord servers or sharing financial advice for a long time or financial wisdom. And we've had people like an Army veteran who's he's a captain and about to become a general who's really good at trading tech stocks, right? And he's come to the very top. And we've had a couple of college students who have been doing this for like the last 10 years, students of the game, students of Buffett since they're like 6, come to the top. So I would say it's really exciting to be able to see that and make an impact. I think we're just at the very early innings of that as you sort of scale up. And part of that with this fundraise, the Series A, is how do we accelerate growth on the supply side? And I love one of my favorite Brian Chesky quotes, I'll sort of paraphrase, is he's like, as a marketplace business, you're focusing on one side of the marketplace at once, right? You're either on the supply side or the demand side. We came out of stealth less than 12 months ago, right? We've been in the market for less than 12 months and we've been monetizing for less than that. And for the first year, we really focused on building out the demand side, the copiers. And we've been successful. We crossed 1 million downloads. And the next step is now, hey, how do we shift the focus to building and turbocharging supply even more? I think there's so much hidden talent out there that we barely scratch the surface on. And I want all of them to have a platform on Dub.
As you grow this business, how do you see the best way and the most effective ways, most sustainable ways to monetize? That's a win-win for both you and the creators as well as the consumers.
Absolutely. So I think it's really important that we build the right incentive mechanisms to drive quality on the platform. So as it exists today, we have what we call the top creator program. So not everyone that's being copy traded on the app can actually make money. Only the creators accepted a top creator program. So that means they need to meet a minimum criteria of trading history, track record, outperformance of the markets, right? I think once they meet that, then we drive the incentives for people paying because then they've actually proved their worth.
Right.
So I would say that mechanism is currently either a subscription fee or a management fee. The management fee is similar to sort of a mutual fund or hedge fund or ETF per se. The subscription fee is more familiar like a Substack model, right? We're toggling and testing between sort of those different monetization models. I think it will change sort of as we scale up and we'll add different ways to monetize. But to us, the critical question is how do we balance the scale and the axes between quality and what is the market clearing price for sort of that fee that people are paying?
Yeah. How many creators do you think is enough?
Yeah. That's always a great trick question, right? But I do think there will be likely a long tail where the top creators, there is that feedback mechanism. And you see that with just successful hedge fund managers. Success perpetuates success, right? And I think it'll be, as we see that happen throughout history, and it'll probably likely happen in Dub too, it'll be increasing our job to make sure that the new creators, quote unquote, get and have visibility and surface at the very top. So I'm just excited about the product opportunity that we have to create novel mechanisms to really surface and drive quality that hasn't been seen before, but really is good.
Right. As you gain scale and grow even more popular and have more creators who come onto your platform, how do you envision the competitive landscape evolve?
Yeah, that's a great question. The more competitive, the better. Yeah, right. So I think competition drives quality up. But what I'm also excited is Dub today is just equities, ETFs, and some crypto through ETFs. We're about to add a lot more asset classes down the line. The end vision is really become a distribution portal where you can copy trade someone trading not just equities and stocks, but also think about crypto, slivers of art, fractionalized venture capital firms or private equity firm stakes, right? All of the alternative assets. And once we diversify to different types of asset classes, there's going to be good creators who are good at trading different types of asset classes. I think, yes, there'll be more competition, but there'll be different types of competition as people are trading sort of different things. And as I think about it, right, there should be a convergence to sort of a mean, but it's up to us to sort of create that diversity and simplify what that looks like for our customers.
Yeah. Can you chat a little bit about your team makeup and how do you design to have this management team where each operator has his or her own specialty?
Yeah. So, you know what? One of my management mottos is to always expect before you inspect. So I give people trust first until you've lost it from me. Then I sort of go in. And that's how I've led sort of my team. And we've been very successful just expecting so far. So under me, I've got my chief operating officer, Brett, who was head of business operations at a firm. He joined early on, IPO'd with them, was there for 5 years. Another is Justin. We've got 2 Justin R's on our team. One is our chief compliance officer. The other is our VP engineering. And they're all incredible, right? Like they've really mastered the craft, and I give them a lot of leeway because there's a deep amount of trust. They can just crush what they've executed. And we have a weekly meeting where we have a weekly meeting every Monday where we sort of come together, do a very long 1-2 hour powwow session. We do a happy hour every Thursday where it's kind of just, or Wednesday where it's just us execs. We have our rituals that kind of bring us together to sort of jam and also allow us to sort of zoom out as we grow, right? And I'm excited to evolve that. We're about to hire some more folks to the leadership team as we grow and scale. And that's a really exciting challenge where I think like I'm going to need to expand my scope of my leadership philosophy too. Am I going to have like 60 direct reports like Jensen, or is it going to be more of a traditional model like Bezos where he has like 6 or 7, right? I think one thing that I've learned, and maybe advice for some founders out there, is like I love reading biographies. I feel like that Charlie Munger quote, I'm friends with the eminent dead for sure. And one thing I've learned is like, yes, you can read a lot and you can get these experiences, but what works for someone else usually does not work 100% for you. I've tried to take all the lessons, do it by the book, but there's always that last 5-10% of nuance, right? So I'm just excited to create what works best for my team, us, and Dub as we achieve and scale to greater heights.
Speaking of nuanced advices, if you can advise a younger founder who's doing this for the first time, or a younger version of you 6-7 years ago, what would be a nuanced or underappreciated advice that you haven't heard from other people given to you before?
One of the most impactful, if not the most impactful in my growth, has been working with a phenomenal CEO coach. I never had a therapist my whole life. I was very much against it. I interviewed probably 6 or 7 CEO coaches. My first one didn't work out, and my current one, he's phenomenal. What I realize is having someone next to you that can give you honest, unadulterated advice, but also someone that you trust enough to be deeply honest with their fears, your vulnerabilities, and someone who will give non-objective feedback that just truly just cares about you and your success as a human being, that is really powerful, right? And that is just a mirror, right? I think founders owe it to themselves to find someone like that. May not need to be an executive coach, but someone that they trust enough that doesn't care about ego, that doesn't care about offending you, but will be tough on you, right? And that single-handedly has given me a ton of perspective. It's cooled me down in times that I probably would have made a bad decision sort of otherwise. I think is a really worthy investment, especially if you're building a fast-scaling company where so many customers and people are relying on you.
If I double click on that, what makes a good CEO coach, at least in your own experience?
Finding the right fit for stage and for your quality as a founder, right? My first CEO coach is someone who is very methodical. He was introduced to me by Unicorn CEO, and a CEO coach for like a later stage C or D company is very different than what you need at an early stage. A lot of that later stage is they're a consultant. Oh, this is how you should do HR. This is the playbook, right? For me, it's like, I think I can go learn that. I've got the resources. I got investors that can help with that. But what I needed was more of like a therapist type person. My CEO coach is trained, licensed. He has all that experience, and that's what he functions more. So what works for someone else may not work for you. I think you owe it to yourself to meet a ton of types of individuals and really choose the person that resonates with you the most. And I think you should really trust your gut here.
Yeah. So looking ahead, what should we expect to see from Dub over the next 12, 24 months?
Yeah. Wow. I think that the opportunity set is absolutely limited. Unlimited, not limited. And one of the most exciting things for me is like to date, we've been a subscription only product. You've had to pay to sort of use Dub. We're about to launch very soon a freemium version of the app. So we're going to have a free version for the very first time. And I think that will absolutely unlock the level of virility, the level of organic growth, to sort of really take Dub to new levels and new heights and really fulfill that vision of access for the everyday American. With $100, anyone now can open a Dub account, use it, and now gain access to something that they've never had, traditionally only reserved to the top 0.1%. That really excites me, I think being able to take this to the heights and the access and the expanse that it can, I think that's number one. Two is just expanding to other asset classes, thinking about how we can bring more access, more esoteric things that people would find even harder to invest in, and make it really simple. By now, you can just copy trade an expert who will invest in that sort of for you. And finally is just growing this team. If the Dub team, if y'all are watching this, I owe my last 4 years and sort of my life and my happiness to sort of this company and your support. And I think what brings me the most joy is to see and have seen our team grow so much for the past 4 years. The sacrifice that's gone in, people who joined me from day one when we were nothing, no product, and how far we can take this team to sort of new heights and really fulfill this shared vision that we have. And now we're very lucky to be able to share this vision with a lot of customers out there, great new investors like you, Hans, and partnering up with some of the most talented folks in the world to take this to that vision of Dub being in every hand globally.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm speaking on behalf of the entire team. Many of us have interacted with you, spent time with you over the last 2-3 months, and everyone commented on how precocious and smart and thoughtful and driven you are. So all of us are very excited to share the knowledge we have, the skilling experience we have with some of the most iconic names in the world in consumer internet space to help you succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Hans, I'll never forget you. I think you don't need to. You're a multi-time top 10, like Midas gold lister or whatever they call that. But you LinkedIn DM'd me, and it was so cool. Like, I'll share this, everyone. I grew up in sort of Detroit in Texas, and I wasn't practicing my Chinese much. So to practice my Chinese in middle school, I listened to tech podcasts, and Hans had a couple podcasts that were in Mandarin. And I remember listening to those as a middle schooler growing up. And when I saw Hans' LinkedIn DM, I was like, wow, I was absolutely floored. He's like, I'd watched your CNBC interview or something. And a deep sense of respect came up because you truly have a love for the game. There's no reason you need to do that. And I just saw someone who still had the same ambition, drive, and hunger. There's day one, the drive and hunger ambition that I have right now. And I couldn't be more excited to partner with someone who doesn't need to, but just wants to, for the love of creation, for the love of bringing great products to this world and truly making an impact. So I'm excited to kick off this journey with you and the rest of the Notable team.
Yeah, we're excited. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.